We got to talk about this, man. We'll first take time to congratulate the UCLA women's basketball team for winning the national championship.
Corey Close.
This past weekend over the South Carolina Gamecocks, coached by Dawn Staley, who we're about to talk about in a second. Final score was 79-51, and it was every bit the domination that the final score suggests prior to the game. In the Final Four, the UConn Huskies took on the aforementioned South Carolina Gamecocks. The Lady Gamecocks won a grinded-out affair, 62-48. UConn coach Geno Auriemma took exception to the officiating during a mid-game interview, complaining about the lack of foul calls and making reference to Coach Dawn Staley's interactions with the officials, stating that she was calling them names that, quote, you don't want to hear, unquote. After the game, Coach Auriemma and Coach Staley exchanged unpleasant words. In the post-game press conference, Coach Auriemma made reference to the pregame handshake, stating that he was left standing there for 3 minutes. The handshake clearly occurred. He didn't clarify if his frustration was with the waiting or the exchange. Finally, Coach Auriemma issued an apology saying that he, quote, lost himself, unquote. Coach Staley also issued a statement saying that it's time to move on. I'm going to ask the People's Champ, was Coach Auriemma's outburst over the line, or was it just a part of rivalries? And did his apology seem sincere? We'll say the People's Champ.
The entire scenario from that, the time the final whistle went off in that game was sucker shit. All of it, period. From what Geno did with the what was the in-game interview with Holly Rowe to the post-game incident with Dawn, the post-game interview with Dawn, the lame-ass apology that he put out on Saturday, and then all of the Lady Husky alumni gathering around, safeguarding and gatekeeping his legacy that whole weekend. It was all weak. It was all sucker shit to me, and I'm tired of seeing it. It happens all the time in women's sports, especially when it comes to women of color, period. Like, if it ain't Dawn Staley, it's Tay Townsend. If it ain't Tay Townsend, it's Coco Gauff. If it ain't Coco Gauff, it's Jordan Childs. If it ain't Jordan Childs, it's Angel Reese. If it ain't Angel Reese, it's Simone Biles. It's just like, it's just old, man. It's Geno Auriemma being entitled, and he got his ass kicked, and he didn't know how to handle it, and then he gets up here at a press conference asking people this rhetorical question that they can't answer. Come on, have you ever waited 3 minutes for somebody to shake a hand before the game? I never have in 41 years. Man, shut up.
Right. What difference?
And hold that L. And then during the national championship, you got Big Bite Lobo over here talking about, well, Geno Auriemma, I've confirmed, reached out to Dawn Staley personally and apologized. That was a lie. He didn't. They asked Dawn after the game, and she was like, no, that's a Geno question. I haven't talked to him. That's a lie. And that was just an attempt because Geno was getting heat for that lame apology that he put out where he apologized to their staff, where, he didn't go on a tirade and get in the face of their staff. He got in Dawn Staley's face.
I concur.
You know what I'm saying? And then that was weak. And then then there's the Sue Bird. That's just Geno being Geno, and that's just how it is. Okay, that's fine. Well, how he is on some sucker shit.
Right.
Period.
Real
and then Diana Taurasi, same thing. And it's like, come on. Especially when you're talking Lobo, Taurasi, Sue Bird, I get it, the whole Husky loyalty thing.
Yeah.
But Dawn Staley was a teammate of yours or coach of yours too at some point.
Right.
I mean, Lobo, especially because you consider what that 96 Olympic team did in terms of jumping off the WNBA the following season.
Yeah.
Staley, Lobo, Swoops, Leslie were like the four players that they were pitching when they were starting that league. I remember. You get what I'm saying?
Definitely.
So to sit up here and to go on TV, national TV, and say that when all you had to do was just go talk to Dawn Staley probably and find out if that's true. It ain't like you don't know her.
Right.
You get what I'm saying? And to go broadcast that when it's a flagrant lie, that was weak.
Yep.
That was weak as hell to me. And then, like I say, and to just kind of water the narrative down to, well, that's just Geno being, competitive, and that's just how it is, and it's just two people from Philly. It's like, no, man. It's like people are too comfortable being disrespectful to female athletes of color. And until they get allies of a high stature other than the usual suspects, like shout out your Paige Beckers, et cetera, then nothing's going to happen, bro. Yep. Period. Like, and I'm just tired of it. And it's absolutely, undoubtedly immersed in sucker shit. And go ahead, bro.
I don't think this is a woman in sports that's colored situation.
I do.
I think, no, honestly, I feel like, and I think Candace Parker pretty much said it best during her Hall of Fame press conference, and I'm just paraphrasing her quote, but a person's going to show you their true colors. I guess you could say once is an instant, twice isn't a coincidence. This is not the first time he's had beef with a head coach of a woman. Basically, Dawn Staley has taken over Pat's spot for Geno, and he's basically acted the same way to Dawn, the same way he was acting towards Pat towards the later part of those years. So I think this is just more about Geno being Geno, and truth be told, Geno is just a sucker at the end of the day. Like, I think he's gotten better over the years. I won't give him that. I will give him at least that much grace, but I think at the end of the day, he's still an asshole.
Yeah.
Through and through.
No arguments there.
So I'll preface my comments by saying I definitely feel protective over the sisters, and I have a great respect for Coach Staley. I understand that in the heat of battle, people can say and do things that they don't mean. We're all human beings. Coach Geno, he's out there defending his program, his players, his reputation, his institution, and his fans. When the adrenaline is pumping, you may feel provoked in the moment and do something that you don't mean. I've done it myself, but my issue was with the apology. He apologized to Coach Staley and her staff. You didn't scream in the face of her staff. You attempted to dress down a woman who you should see as a colleague and an equal. You attempted to do so in public. You then tried to justify it by saying she kept you waiting for the pregame handshake. You stayed defiant when asked a follow-up question, and then you made a personal call to appeal to her better nature after the situation had calmed down. I have no doubt that on the private phone call, you gave the appropriate apology, but you didn't act out in private. I believe that when you attempt to embarrass someone in public, which is what you attempted not only to do when you addressed her after the game, but you also made reference to how she was addressing the officials during the mid-game interview, the apology, the penance, if you will, needs to also be done equally as public. Not a catch-all apology for me and my staff, but a direct one for the offended party. You didn't lose yourself, Coach Geno. You revealed yourself to be condescending, and now you need to publicly make it right. Then it'll be time to move on. Yeah, that was definitely some sucker shit. But
like at the end of the day, like, I don't think I've ever seen another, for as great as Geno is at being the head coach, I don't think I've ever seen a man so threatened by a woman who can match his skill and success.
Yeah, because he's a sucker.
Right.
It's sucker shit, bro.
Because like I said, first it happened with Pat. It's happening with Dawn, and I think all three of us can come to the agreement that Dawn has filled in the void that we lost with Pat Summitt in women's college basketball.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, for sure.
And so it's just something about Geno that he feels threatened by whoever has the ability to match his skill level, and it's like, bro, after 30 years, go coach the men, dog.
Right.
It's like, man, cut the jokes, dog. Like, go coach the men, dog. You ain't bored, like, beating the hell out of college girls, dog, going on these 50, 60, 70, 80 game win streaks, dog. That don't get tired.
You look at the head coaches at UConn, it's a night and day difference.
Right.
In how they act and how they carry themselves.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, I was offended by his behavior.
That was
out
just
of line.
and again, man, like I don't like to play the card, but it's just always this. They just always get extra comfortable, dog, when they come to us, dog.
No, they do.
Like
I agree with you.
They just always get
you're right. I felt the same way. I'm like, it was plenty of men out there to talk to. You was mad at the officials, run up on in the field, but he didn't. But no, I agree with you, man, and that's. Yep, I thought that was definitely some shit.
And the fake allyship is weak to me, dog. Like that it always rears its head, dog. Like nobody but the usual suspects that look like us came to her defense, dog. You know what I'm saying? And that's why the apology came on Tuesday, and then the real apology, and then even that had to be buffered with Dawn coming up behind him, saying wash him. Like, well, we
it's time to move on. Yeah, it's time to move on. Like, no, it ain't. It's not time to move on till we get a real apology.
To try and make it seem like she had to share some of the onus of, like, well, maybe she did kind of overreact too.
No,
so that's
she didn't do nothing to deserve that. No,
that's the shit I don't.
Yeah, I know. We not comforting people. We not comforting these offenders, though. No.
And I don't back down from that, dog.
Yeah, nope. We not comforting these. Dawn didn't do anything to deserve that. She was out there coaching her team, coaching them hard, and doing exactly what he was doing. He talking about she talking to the officials. You screaming at the officials too. Like, who are you to try to put her out there like that?
I ain't never had a player get their jersey ripped off. Well, you ain't never had a player rip their own jersey off then, dude.
Like, don't worry. Yeah, like, man.
Yeah, dude.
But at any rate, man,